Hello, beautiful souls. Elena Fouché, energy healer here. I want to talk a little bit about why part of healing is actually counterintuitive. How does that work? Why does that happen? And it's the part where we're leaning into the pain. That's really counterintuitive. So I'm going to give you a much longer description of how this works and why it works in a blog, and I'll put a link to that down below so you can get that. I'm also going to link a free guided meditation that you can download to start playing with this yourself. Not the really deep traumas, the kinds of things that you work with someone like me when you actually need a healer to help you, though you can do the easier things by yourself. So I will put a link to that down below. And of course you can subscribe on my website to my newsletter so you know, get things like this and you know what I'm up to. And there's lots more, there's a ton of free guided meditations on the site as well. So that's all there for you. So the short version of this is that part of healing is counterintuitive, and that's the part where we're leaning into the pain. And why is part of healing counterintuitive? Well, it's because what we're doing is we are going against our biology a little bit for a moment, which doesn't make a lot of sense until you understand the bigger picture. So what we're doing in the work that I do, we're healing trauma. We're actually working with something in the system that we have held that we couldn't process. So we had a trauma, it was overwhelming, parts of it we couldn't process, so we took the parts we couldn't process and we camped them out in our system somewhere. And we put layers over them to protect ourselves from them. So far, so good. This is great. This is a protective mechanism that our body does for us, or our system does for us, so that we don't go crazy, right? Even though we can't process everything during the trauma, if we camp out a little bit of it, the parts we couldn't process, then we stay sane, and this is here to deal with later. Well, when we're doing healing work, what we want to do is actually open this up, unpack this, so that we can process it now, when we actually have more bandwidth, when we're safer, and we can lean into this. And that's how we heal it. Because once we can unpack it, it can go. We can let it go. We release the charge of it, and whew, this is much better. And there's a whole bunch of benefits to that, which again, I'll talk about in the blog. The point though, is that leaning into the pain, that turning and facing the pain, even though it's a really beautiful and natural healing process, it's unwinding that protective mechanism. And it has to go a little bit against our biology to lean into pain. Because if you think about it, we are biologically wired to move away from pain, right? You take your finger off the stove, you don't eat the poison mushroom, you move away from things that hurt you, right? And you go towards things that are comfortable and nourishing and helpful and joyful and beautiful. We don't lean into pain. Like, that is not something that we are wired to do. And yet we do it when we're healing for this specific reason. It's just like lancing a boil, right? Ow! Well, it's not that strenuous, but what we're doing is we are turning and facing this pain. And we are going against that normal biological drive of moving away, and we're actually moving towards. And just like when we lance a boil, it can open and the pain can come out and it can leave our system. And that is a beautiful way to heal trauma. I've done a whole lot of it. I've done this for 18 years with people, and like 25 on myself. And it's really helpful. It's just this little piece. We often hit a road bump, you know, and every time I do my own, and every client I work with, you know, we hold each other's hands. Like, I hold my clients' hands, other people hold my hands when we're doing that, because it is, we have to be convinced, our biology has to understand, this is actually okay. It's actually okay to do this. I'm not gonna die. It's okay in this instance to move towards the pain. So I hope that helps. This is something that a lot of people hit this bump, and you know, we're already doing something that's pretty big. You know, we're dealing with trauma, we're healing. This is a big deal, especially at the level that I work with people. And so this is really helpful to know that when you're at this point, part of what you're dealing with is really counterintuitive, even counter-biological in this way. And yet we're not actually going against the biology. We're not actually doing something that's hurting us. We're actually just unwinding that protective mechanism that was really helpful at the time, but is not helping us now. All right. Hope that helps. Take care and see you next time.